Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kentucky Small Business Development Center's weekly webinar. I'm really glad you took time out of your day to join us. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director of the SBDC Center here in Louisville, Kentucky. And as we allow everyone to kind of join and get settled in, I'd like to take a few moments to tell you just a little bit about the Kentucky Small Business Development Center program. The Kentucky SBDC program is the only statewide, nationally accredited program that provides entrepreneurial and business development services to assist Kentucky's entrepreneurs and businesses at every stage of their business life cycle. For almost 40 years, the Kentucky SBDC has assisted emerging and growing businesses by providing the professional expertise, tools, and information necessary for entrepreneurs to start, fund, and grow their businesses. We do this at no cost to you, thanks to the U.S. Small Business Administration, the University of Kentucky, as well as regional universities, colleges, and local economic development agencies. To learn more, visit us at KentuckySBDC.com, and there you'll find plenty of additional resources to help start, fund, and grow your businesses. And to request personal assistance, send us an email at info@KentuckySBDC.com or give us a call at 1-414-7232. We'd be happy to help you. If you look to the right of your screen, you'll find the chat feature as always. And if you have any questions for our presenters, we go through the program today. Please present them there, post them there, and we'll get right to them. And just to make sure everything's working, you can figure out the chat. Go ahead and post where your name, and say hello, and tell us where you're watching from. Looks like there's Kay and Sloy and Sonia. Hey, Sonia. Jeremy, good to see you. Tamika, good to see you. And where are you guys from? So, Tamika, you're from Louisville. All right. Looks like we got a ton coming in today. All right. I'm Dave Etkin again. I'm the director of the Louisville Center. We're one of 17 centers throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And just to remind you, a recording of today's webinar will be emailed to you later this afternoon, as well as the slides. So, yeah, okay. Everybody's joining in now. There's Michelle. Good to see you guys. We got a great guest today. I like to find people to share with us that are those folks that have been there and done that. And Ben Salisbury is the consummate teacher, professional, and consultant. Spent 36 years in the corporate world, driving sales for large companies with products. And he has just one of those folks that, through the years kind of jumped into entrepreneurship, started his own business, learned that, and then has been very successful at it as well. And so I think I'll let him tell you a little bit more about his journey. But Ben, welcome today. Good to see you.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for Dave. I was thinking about my brother-in-law, Jim, who I just saw in the chat. Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Dave.
So I'm just going to hand it off to you, and let's get going here and talking about content marketing for your website. That's really key. We were talking about this earlier. Should be the tip of your spear. So, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I started my entrepreneurial journey 7 years ago. In fact, my anniversary was just like 2 weeks ago. Had I had any idea what I was getting into, I'm not so sure I would have gone through with it. But it's a lot like having children. You would, if you knew now then what you know now, you might not go through with it. But I've learned a lot in 7 years, and I love sharing what I've learned with other people. Our business is a consulting business. We provide sales consulting to a very specific client, wineries and craft distilleries. I've got a lot of experience in the industry, and so I've just parlayed that experience into helping other clients. I love sales. I don't like to personally sell, but I love to train. Now, I did it for many years, but I love to train people on how to sell well, and selling your own business is an important part of it. So, and I have a bend towards technology. So all things having to do with tech, like CRM and social media, digital advertising, all of those things are really near and dear to my heart. Our clients, as I said, are wineries, distillers, but also importers and distributors. So we're a B2B company. We do not sell directly to consumers. We help our clients be successful with consumers. So that's the nature of what we do. So it's kind of a highly specialized, very niche down business. I took this right off our website. This is our areas of expertise. I don't do this alone. I have a great team working alongside me, but I think it really helps on the website to have somewhere where you can tell people these are the things we do. You know, what do we do? But you want it as simple as possible. You're going to pick up a lot of lessons. Hopefully today, this is the first one. Whatever you put on your website, keep it as simple as possible. Nobody has time to read. So if you've got a long, a large amount of text explaining what you do and how you do it, no one's ever going to read it. So that's definitely one of the things to pick up on today. I also think it's important to have a social media presence, but you can't be everywhere. So it really helps to kind of pick the platforms where you think your clients are hanging out. And so in my case, LinkedIn is kind of the primary way. Since I'm in a B2B environment, LinkedIn is the primary way that I find customers and talk to customers. That's where my customers hang out a bit. LinkedIn isn't just for unemployed people. It's become one of the most powerful networking tools for any industry. I was a very early adopter to LinkedIn when the platform first came out, and that's really benefiting me now as a consultant because I have over 4,000 first level connections, and I don't connect with anyone that I don't know. So this isn't just a numbers thing. These are actual connections, a byproduct of being in the same industry for 3 decades. My other favorite tool is my email list. And that's another big takeaway from my lesson with you today. Your email list is the point of the spear for your business. You must have an email list that's active and engaged. You need to know how to grow it and how to leverage it. And there's a learning curve there, of course. I use ConvertKit. That's my email software that I use. I have 1,000 subscribers. Roughly, it's a little higher than that now since I made this slide. But I want you to look at my open rate. I have almost a 50% open rate for using email. That shows that I'm sending the right content to the right people. I have a YouTube channel with 650 subscribers, a Facebook page with 761 fans, and I have a presence on Instagram. So between LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, that's it. I mean, I'm always very tempted to jump on other platforms. I don't do Pinterest. I have a Twitter account, but I don't really use it. I'm not on any other platform. So, excuse me for 1 second. Being able to draw upon your social media presence to drive traffic to your website is very key. And I'm sure you've had other speakers come in and show you how to get a social media presence. I just wanted, for today's purposes, to show you that what my social media presence looks like and how I use it to drive traffic to my website. So speaking of my website, I have had many iterations of my website. The first 2 or 3 were really bad, really awful. I had no idea what I was doing. Maybe you can relate to some of this. I put all this energy and time into creating a website and wondered why no one ever came to it. And when I first put in Google Analytics so I could look at the traffic that was coming to it, I was pretty startled to see that there was nothing but crickets. So I've learned a lot. The latest iteration of my website is doing very well, and it's finely tuned to be a lead gen machine. When you come to SalisburyCreative.com, and you should check it out, not now while I'm talking, please, but go check it out. You'll see that it is hyper focused on getting your email address. That is the purpose of my website. If you want to find out more about what we do, you have to dig around. When you first get there, it's plain as day. What we want you to do is just sign up for something. So I look forward to sharing more of what this looks like today. My website is not an online brochure where it's about us and our products, and that looks like what it's supposed to do. In fact, I don't mean to be hypercritical of these tools, off-the-shelf tools like Squarespace, Weebly, etc., where you can build your own website. My first website was built on Weebly, so I get that. It's just not a very effective way to convert visitors into paying customers. At a certain point, you need to get hyper-focused on what you want your website to do. So we're going to get into this a little bit. These 2 graphs are really important. The top is my website traffic for the last 3 months. The bottom is my lead acquisition, the number of new people signing up to be on my email list where I can then build a relationship and make business happen. You can see that it's not a straight line. There are peaks and valleys, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. You'll see a big black hole on the bottom chart from 3 months ago where I purged my list. I got rid of hundreds and hundreds of subscribers who weren't very active. They already proven they didn't want to be on my list, so I got rid of them, and it really helped my open rates, and it just made me feel more excited about the business. But this website traffic is what we're here to talk about today. How do you get that website traffic? How do you get quality website traffic? How do you have more control of that? So here's what we're going to learn today. The different types of traffic, because there are different types, is helpful to know. Why you want to drive traffic to your website. Understand that converting visitors to paying customers is a journey. It's a relationship. It isn't a transaction. So that's another huge takeaway from today. Don't treat your website as a place to get transactions. Now, some of you may have a business where your website is there to sell products, and you've got a shopping cart and a checkout and all of that. So I'm not saying don't expect your website to sell. I'm talking about these first-time visitors, people who first visit your website. They're not going to convert right away, very rarely, which is why you need to leverage email marketing. But it really helps to understand, and I'm going to color this in a little bit more today, what it looks like to understand that this is a journey and a relationship. The fourth thing you're going to learn today is what your website should be optimized for. I just shared that mine is optimized for lead generation and lead generation only. And for some of you, if you take this to heart and go make some changes, you're going to see a big difference in your business. Understand who your customers are and what they want, and optimize for that. And then the last thing I'm going to teach you today is how to drive traffic to your website using content marketing, which is what you're here for. And a few bonuses along the way, a little bit of SEO, a little bit of email marketing, a little bit of lead generation, social media, and advertising. That's where we're headed. So let's get to it. The first thing you got to do before we get into driving traffic to your website, I would really be negligent by not spending a little bit of time about getting your website ready for that traffic. Because what good is all that traffic if you're not going to be able to convert it? So we got to make sure your website is ready for more traffic. So why drive traffic to the website? Why have people visit your website? Well, it could be multiple things depending on your business. Obviously, you want to make a good first impression. I wish we had time for me to show you dozens and dozens of examples of really bad websites that really have no reason for being. And what you would find in common with all those is they're too wordy, it's too disorganized, people bounce, and it'll tell you, your bounce rate will tell you a lot about how well designed your website is. If you're trying to make a good first impression, simplicity and keeping things clean and simple is the way to do that. Maybe you're trying to solve a problem. Maybe people are coming to your website because they have a problem, and they're hoping that they'll find something on your website to solve it. For many of you, you're trying to sell products and services. I think there's a better way to do that than just having one website, but that's why I have this in parentheses. It's not easy to get cold traffic to your website and turn them into paying customers. You have to think about the funnel and how long it's going to take to develop a relationship with them. Or you could be like mine, which is to generate leads. Ever since I optimized my website for generating leads, it's made a huge difference in how I use my website and what I get out of it. This starts with who is your customer and what do they want. So I would love it if you take a few seconds to type in the chat, who's your customer, you, and what do they want? You'd be surprised. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. You'd be surprised how many people aren't crystal clear on this. I haven't always been crystal clear on this, I can assure you. But once I did get clear, it made what I put on my website stand out even more. So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat here. I appreciate you sticking yourself out there. If you're going to answer me in the chat, maybe you're a dry cleaner and your customers are people from your neighborhood that need dry cleaning. Okay, we've got some answers coming in. Executives and leaders who need more confidence. That's great. Jeremy says seeded, funded to 50 million in revenue. That's who your customers are, Jeremy. I'm not sure I'm following that. So if you're giving me half of my two-part question, it's hard for me to get it. Who is your customer and what do they want? So if you are removing construction debris, who's your customer that you do that for? And I'm not trying to pick on anybody or call anybody out, but these are two really important questions that you need to sit down and really consider, really ponder. So Justin says his customers are realtors and business consultants. What do they want, Justin? So Darlene says her customers are parents and they want coaching support. I would be a lot more specific than coaching support. Anyway, I think you get the idea. Get real clear with yourself who your customer is and what they want, because that is the key to making your website work for you. Don't just put up an electronic brochure or digital business card. It's just a waste of time. Because when you dial in who your customer is and what they want, and you make your website serve that purpose, you're going to have a big difference in your revenue. So here's my simple website strategy, and I can't encourage you more to think simple on this stuff. My research tells me that my web visitor are wineries and craft distilleries, and they're interested in selling more. That is key. That's the key word for me. How do I sell more wine? How do I sell more spirits? They're what my customers are wineries and distilleries, and they want my help selling more. Are there other things that they want? Sure. But I can't serve all of those needs. So I pick the one that I can serve really well, and I focus on that. So when people visit my website, they find something right away that can help them sell more wine and spirits. The early iterations of my website was not designed like this. It was just a bunch of stuff thrown up against the wall, something for everyone. Hey, they can rummage around and find what they need. You got about 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds to have somebody find what they want on your website. That is not a very long time. So the more junk you pile into your website, the harder it's going to be for you to convert visitors to sales. And the last thing is I want them to sign up for my email list. So here's my simple strategy. Visit my website, find something right away that helps you do what you want, which is sell more wine and spirits. Sign up for my email list. That begins their journey with me, and I patiently cultivate those relationships over time. Now, there's several ways to get people to visit the website, which is why you showed up today. But I'm trying to help you understand that you could be great at driving traffic to the website, but if you don't know who your customers are and what they want, and you don't know how to give it to them right away within the first 10 seconds, you're going to spin your wheels a good bit. So content marketing and a little bit of SEO, and the two kind of go hand in hand. That's what we're here to talk about today. Somebody asked a question about my email software. So a lot of people use MailChimp. I started out with Constant Contact. Now I use ConvertKit because it's so simple. And I won't have time to get into this today, but if you really go to the higher levels of email marketing, it's very much speaking to people one-to-one at scale, and not newsletters, not mass, communication. None of that stuff really works very well. So back to my website. When you first get there, front and center, and this is a little video thing, this glass moves and it crashes. Motion is super important on that first visit to the website, but it's pretty clear. My clients are wineries and distilleries. They want to sell more products. So look, the environment for selling has changed. Have you? Get the Modern Playbook. The Modern Playbook will show you how to sell more wine and spirits. It's super simple, super straightforward. When they click on that button, it takes them deeper into my funnel. There, they'll learn more about the Modern Playbook and they can sign up for it. But to sign up for it, they have to give me their email address. My website is optimized for leads. Now, along the way, if you hang out just a little bit longer, you'll start to get a few pop-ups. One of my pop-ups is my free guide to selling wine and spirits remotely. This is one of my top lead magnets. Download my free guide. When they do that, they have to give me their name and email address. There's another one somewhere else on the site. I've got all these little trip wires set up everywhere that you trip on them and you get the invitation to get something for free, something of value for free. I also have a quiz. Take my quiz, find out how strong your digital selling IQ is for wine and spirits. This is my website's number one and only function is to get people to sign up for stuff. Keep the lead machine humming. That's what my website is all about. I'm encouraging you to do the same. Now, if you do go deeper, some people don't want to wait around and sign up for stuff. Some people just want to what if I want to hire you, what's it going to cost me? And so this to me was a big step forward in my website design. You can click through to this little page and it'll just show you, I got 3 ways that I can serve people. One is the free way. Another is paid online courses, which is probably the best value, biggest bang for your buck, much, much cheaper than hiring me live. And then you could work with me, and I have a 30-minute discovery call that costs $300. You can rent my brain for an hour for $900, or you can rent me for a half a day at $3,000. And this is all plain as day on my website. A lot of that scares people over here to the free stuff and the online stuff, which is not a bad thing because they're much more likely to sign up for my paid online courses once they see what I charge to interact with me live. But my point of showing you the slide is this. Make it super easy for people to get what they need. Don't make them dig around for it. Be as plain as day. In my case, there's 3 pathways to what? To better sales results. For my clients, that's what they want, is better sales results. When I got really clear on that, as I said earlier, it just made all the difference. So, quick side note here, a little tough love here. I see this and hear this all the time. I want to use my website. I want to generate $1 million in sales, but I'm going to build it myself, or I'm going to have my cousin build it. And I don't understand this thinking. If you want to generate $1 million in sales and you're not willing to spend $5,000 to build a kick-ass, super great website, well, I don't really feel sorry for you. And you don't need to spend $5,000. But I'll tell you something else. You sure don't need to spend 10 or 15. Don't be spending $10,000 or $15,000 on a new website. It's not necessary today. It used to be when you had to write code for everything. I'm a big WordPress fan. WordPress gives me unlimited flexibility to make my website do exactly what I want it to do. So if you want me to look at your website, you want a second set of eyeballs on it, give you a nickel's worth of free advice, you're welcome to email me. I'll take a quick look, or someone from my team will take a quick look and send you a note. But that's just a quick side note. Thanks for letting me get on my soapbox. So quick recap of my strategy, and we're going to spend the rest of the time talking about how to drive traffic. I know who my client is and what they want. You're going to get a copy of this presentation, but if I were you, I'd take out my phone, get a screenshot of this, because I have a feeling there's many people on this call who need this. They need this list of 5 things. Who's my client? What do they want? Get laser focused on that. Number 2, my website is designed and optimized to quickly provide what my customers want for free, because I want their email address. I'll build a relationship with them and sell them something later. Right now, I want that email address, and I get it, and I get lots of them because I'm really hyper-focused. Number 3, I understand it's highly unlikely that a first-time visitor will buy right away, and that's okay with me. I recognize it as a long-term game. So my conversion, I'm not trying to sell something on the first visit. I'm just trying to get their email address, and this is very freeing, and it's a game changer. Number 4, I care far more about the quality of my web visitors than I do the quantity. This isn't necessarily a numbers game. It's really about getting the right people to visit your website with the right intent. And number 5, I know how to find my customers and entice them to visit my website, which is what we're going to talk about now. Does this make sense? If it makes sense, type in the chat that it makes sense. Or alternatively, you're full of it, Salisbury. You're a blowhard. I don't mind that. I won't take it personally. So now we're ready to talk about how to drive traffic to your website, which is why you showed up. Here we go. But I hope you understand. I hope you understand why I took the time I did to help you get your website ready for that traffic. You take the time to do that and then implement what I'm about to show you. You're going to have see a big difference in your results. Okay, so driving traffic to website, there's 2 kinds of traffic. There's organic traffic, which is free, and then there's paid traffic, which you pay for, obviously. When it comes to organic traffic, we're talking about search. People finding your website because they were searching for something. How do I do this? How do I restore my car's paint to its factory luster? How do I mow my lawn in half the time? Whatever it is they're looking for in a Google search, they may find your website. Now you can pay for search to make sure that you're at the top, but you don't have to if you understand how SEO works and keywords work. I don't pay for search. I haven't ever spent a dime on search because I know how to do it organically. Social media, content marketing, which is what we're going to talk about today, and earned media. Earned media is PR, somebody writing about you, somebody writing a review about you. Learning how to do that is the realm of PR and communications people. Paid search, Facebook, Instagram ads, which is my favorite, and influencers. There's a lot of talk about influencers. Everybody's chasing that shiny rainbow, looking for help. It is a really tough world. If I were you, I would stick with some basic stuff like Facebook ads. So we're going to talk about SEO and content today because that's what you came for. Now, don't let this overwhelm you. This slide, the content marketing toolkit, don't let it overwhelm you. There's a learning curve to this, but it's so worth it. And let me tell you something. If I can do this stuff, anyone can do it. This is not, I am not a genius about these things. And none of this is really, really hard at all. Make sure your website has some kind of analytics. Either the built-in analytics came with the platform you built it on, or take a little time to learn how to install Google Analytics. It's not hard at all, but it will tell you so much about what people are reading when they come to your website, how many people are coming to your website, what do they do when they get there. There's all kind of really cool things. So you need to get that. If you're not using Keywords Everywhere, which is a free Google Chrome extension, I invite you to get that. It's been a game changer for me. I actually have the paid version, but even the paid version is only like $6 a year or something crazy. It really helps to have a social media presence. I'm sure you've had lots of other speakers come in and talk about social media. We're not going to get into how to do that today. Yes, my current website is built on WordPress, and all the websites we build for clients is built on WordPress because it's supremely flexible. There's nothing you can't do with it, including having a shopping cart and all that other stuff. So email software, we use ConvertKit. We also use MailChimp. A lot of our clients use MailChimp. You got to have these. You got to know how to use them. You have to have a basic understanding of SEO, which I'm going to give you today. Shutterstock or some other kind of copyright-free images. I spend a lot of money on Shutterstock because I don't ever want to worry about it being copyright-free. And it's like whatever idea I have in my mind that I want to visualize with an image, I can find it on Shutterstock. Now, there's other services that are free services. So you can do, so take advantage of as much free stuff as you can. But being able to get your hands on good images is key to content marketing. And then, of course, the content. For me, it's writing articles, making videos, and creating lead magnets. We're going to get into a little bit of that. We have someone in the chat who's a WordPress developer, so check it out. So wake up call, more tough love. If you're not optimized online, you don't exist. Notice I didn't say if you don't have a website, you don't exist. You can have a website and still not exist. You've got to be optimized. Who's my customer? What do they want? Can I give it to them quickly in the first 10 seconds of visiting my website? That's what you're up against. So remember that chart about my website traffic. I'll break it down a little bit. Here you can see I spent a good bit of money on a Facebook and Instagram campaign that drove a lot of traffic to the website. Good news, got a lot of new traffic to the website. Bad news, it really hurt my bounce rate. A lot of these people are just, they were there for 5 seconds and they bounced. And sometimes that's the price you pay. But I still like to do it periodically because out of the few people there, all I need is a few people out of that crowd that says, hey, I never heard of these people. Whoa, look what they do. So I'm going to join their email list. So then it's always, if it's worthwhile, you can do it. Now, once a week, I try to, and maybe you can relate, I try to publish a new blog post every Thursday. I don't always get around to it, but I try. So Thursday is my day to do it. But look, you can see on the days that I did it, it drove a nice spike in traffic. So this is really key. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So here's my simple 5-step formula for content marketing. It really is simple. You can do it. I don't care how unsophisticated your tech skills are. Everyone listening to my voice right now, you can do this. One is research keywords and topics that my customers want to learn more about. It's so easy to do this now with Google and the free Google extension Keywords Everywhere. I'll give you a demo of this in a second. Spend the time researching. Don't go with your gut. Don't think you know what your customers want. You really have to research it. Once you're done with that research, you should write a simple article or blog post. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be grammatically perfect. Use all caps, use emojis. It doesn't matter. When you're writing content for your website, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's going to give you a grade. So don't be afraid of writing a simple cryptic article as long as it delivers on what people are looking for. Because when they come to your website, they're looking for help. And if you've got that help, it's going to really make a difference. Then you want to publish the article on your website. Use some basic SEO. We're going to go over this. Then you can promote it. And by promoting the article that's embedded on your website, using a link to drive traffic there, you're going to get lots of traffic. I try to promote as much of this for free as I can. And I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like when I post it to LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and then I send it to my email list. Then you can analyze what's working, what's not. I've written more than 55 articles in the last 7 years. Most of them were not very well received. Several of them were unbelievably well received. A few even transformed my business. And then others fell flat as a pancake. You just don't know. You have to try a lot of different things. But without the analytics, you won't know what's working and what's not. And of course, when you're done, you could always run a Facebook and Instagram ad to promote that article you just wrote. So let's dive into this and take a look. So here's a little screenshot of research. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know how big it is on your screen, but I Googled the word sell more wine. And when I Googled the word sell more wine, this is what I got back. So this is a little time consuming, but it's so worth it. So I'm looking at all these articles that came up in the search. I'm probably going to read a lot of these articles in the search. I want to see what people are saying. And I love to open one of these articles and then scroll right down to the comments, because the comments will tell you all kinds of things about what's on people's mind, what they're struggling with. As soon as I type that into the search, I get, because I have the Keywords Everywhere Chrome extension, I'm getting all these other search results and suggestions about related keywords that I might want to use. So I might go ahead and just click on one of these right here and see where that rabbit trail goes. But I got a little Excel spreadsheet or a spiral pad, whatever you like to take notes with. And I'm researching, learning, trying to look at things from different angles. In this example, I switched over to searching for how to sell wine to restaurants. Well, it turns out there was a lot to be said about this topic. And I thought, well, maybe this topic is already covered and I can't really add to the discussion. That's what I thought until I started reading some of these articles. And I'm like, oh, these are lame. These people don't know what they're talking about. I could do so much better than this. So that was the sweet spot. A lot of people writing about it and searching for it, but very few people doing it well. So that is how I decided to write an article about how to sell more wine to restaurants. And that's how you should do that too. Really get into the heads of your customer. Do some research to find out what they want. So I'm going to back up just one. Oh, actually, I don't have to back up. So if you put the Keywords Everywhere extension on your Chrome, I like to use Chrome to do my searching, it's going to suggest related words. So I typed into the search, how to sell more wine to restaurants. And look what I got, how to sell wine into restaurants, 7 tips for wine distribution to restaurants, blah, blah, blah. But over here under keyword tool, I got how to sell wine legally, how to sell wine to retailers. So this is a time-consuming process, but extremely worth it. So that's what I'm doing when I'm researching keywords, and I'm making notes so that when I get the keyword or phrase that I want to write about, that's coming up. Here's what I do with it. I write the article. Now, I like to write. I'm pretty good at it. I'm a horrible speller, even worse with punctuation. There are tools to remedy that. I like to just get out a Word document and just start writing. In this case, I wrote an article called 6 Keys to Selling Fine Wine. How why 6? I just made it up. I came up with 6, and then I wrote about those 6. So if you're one of those people that waits for perfection before you publish something, you're going to really struggle as an entrepreneur. You just need to get it up and running and make it okay that it's not perfect. I am absolutely never going to win any big prize for my writing, but it doesn't matter. I do it effectively enough to drive tons of traffic to my website. Now, the more words, the better, but don't let that freak you out. If at first you can only write 500 or 600 words, and Microsoft Word will tell you right at the bottom of the document how many words you've written so far. It'll kind of bring back flashbacks to high school. But the more words, the better. So try to stretch out the topics as much as you can. And I can't spend a lot of time on how to write an article, but here's one that I wrote. It came out to be 2,000 words. Ideally, 2,000 to 2,500 is good because Google's search algorithm likes to see long articles. So you have a better chance of showing up higher in search if you use lots of words. But don't stress out. Write 300 or 500 if you're just getting started. Now, on my website, I have a blog. You have to kind of search for it. You have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to find the entry point to my blog. But I get it published there, and when I use the link to drive traffic to it, that's people are going to go back and see that, all those lead magnets that trip up. So if your website doesn't have a blog, this is one of the easiest things to install. You just add a page. Many of these website tools come with a blog add-on, and it's really simple. They walk you through the process. You put in a heading, and you can even cut and paste your whole article from Word, and then you kind of just get it organized and cleaned up a little bit. But this is really, really powerful for a couple of reasons. First, when you have lots of written content on your website, Google search algorithm assigns more weight to your website, and it happens naturally. Plus, you're tapping into SEO by using those keywords that you were looking for. But the other nice thing, which I'm about to show you, is you take the link to that blog post and you use it on your social sites to drive traffic back to your website. And it's very, very effective for this. So here I've got my 6 keys to fine wine. I've got it all written out and I've published it to my website. Now I want to do one more thing, which is to this before I start promoting it, which is to give it some basic SEO. Don't be scared off by SEO. You can get deep into this rabbit hole and you can spend a lot of money on it. But when you're first starting out, just do these basics. Use keywords in your title. How hard is that? Use keywords often in the article. So the keywords I'm trying to focus in on here are selling wine to restaurants. So I use the term selling wine to restaurants quite a bit in the article. You break up the text with headings. Google search algorithm doesn't like to see large blocks of text. So just break it up, like a paragraph like this with a heading and then another paragraph. That's perfect. And on to the next topic. Add some captions to your images. You would be amazed what a difference that makes for search engine optimization when people are searching for stuff on Google. And then use internal and external links, which sounds scarier than it is. You're basically just linking your article on your website to other articles on your website. That's an internal link. Or you can link to other articles that other people have written. This is not hard to do. It's quite easy. Your website software will walk you through how to do it. But if you just did these, 5 things before you publish your blog post, it's going to make a very big difference over time, getting more traffic to your website. So you don't need any special skills to do this. I'm telling you, it's really not that hard. Just some simple instructions like this. Use keywords in your title, use keywords often, break up the text. Anyone can do this, not hard at all. So here's my article on my website. I put some pictures in. I broke up the text with some headings. Everywhere you see red, I've got some internal links and a few external links. Google search algorithm loves to see these links, internal and external. So don't spare them. And the more you've written, the more, of course, when your very first time, you won't have any internal links, but that's okay. When you write your second blog post, put a few that go back to your first blog post. Those are internal links. I think you get the idea. Now I'm ready to promote. So I just go to my website, I navigate to the blog post, and I look up in the window and I grab the URL. And now I'm going to take that link and use it to drive traffic back to my website. So let's take a little bit more time with this. So here I am, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm ready to promote this article. I don't want people to read the article on LinkedIn. I just want to tease the article on LinkedIn, and then they'll click here to read the full article. That's how I get them to my website. And the only people who are going to click on that are people who want to read the article. So see, it's kind of a self-qualifying process. So this is really cool. I just started a new post. I cut and paste that link. As soon as I do, it pre-populates and previews the cover photo I've used, and it'll even tell you how long it's going to take people to read. If you want to throw in some hashtags related to your industry, you can. That certainly helps. Look, 1,129 people viewed this. Not all of them clicked through to my website, but a whole lot did. So I wrote an article, published it on my website, did a little bit of SEO, took the link, popped it into a post on LinkedIn, driving traffic to my website, well-qualified traffic. What did it cost me? Nothing but time and a little bit of research. Here's what it looks like on Instagram. Now, if you're not using Linktree, I highly suggest, because you can't people can't take an action. You can't put a link in a post. You can't put a link to your website in the post. You have to put it up here in your bio. So Linktree has evolved because it allows people to take that one. You get one shot at putting a URL in your Instagram profile, but Linktree will allow you to expand that. So I have the premium version, which allows me to put some branding in it. But all the links to all my blog posts are right here. So when they see this and they click on that, they can go. It'll say in the caption, "See the link in my bio to read the full article." They come up here, click the link, and that's how they get to it. Facebook, same thing. I have a business page for my business. I just do the same thing. I cut and paste that link. I tease it up a little bit, and I use it to drive traffic to the website. Now, I know I went through this kind of fast. You'll get the recording. Go back and watch it again. I just wanted to walk through this. And one final thing, you don't ever boost a post. It's one of the biggest wastes of time. It's not targeted. It's great for Facebook, lousy for the business owner. I wish I had more time to get into it. Just suffice it to say there's better ways to spend money on advertising than boosting posts, which is just a giant waste of time. Tons of articles and videos on the net about why you shouldn't boost posts. Go check them out. And then you're ready to analyze it. Now, this is not an analytics page of that particular blog post, but this is a classic Google Analytics page where I can see where my traffic's coming from, how much time people are spending on their website. What is my bounce rate? My bounce rate's kind of high. Anything above 80% is a little troublesome, but it's high because I spend a lot of money on Facebook ads, and the level of intent is often kind of low. But do some analytics. Don't skip over this part. I wish I had time to go. I could do a whole hour just on how to use Google Analytics. I want to see what brought them to the website. What did they look at when they went there? What did they look at second and third? What path did they follow? How long were they on there? I want to look at all those things, and you can with Google Analytics. So if you want to get serious with SEO, here's two great tools. Because one of the reasons I love WordPress is you can get all these plugins that help you just do whatever it is you want to do better. We use a Yoast for SEO. It literally walks you through what you can do to each blog post to make it rank higher in search. I believe this thing pays for itself many times over if used consistently. My other favorite tool is Sem Rush. Sem Rush allows me to do very deep dives on keywords and related keywords. I can analyze competitors. I can analyze my own website. This is some pretty advanced stuff, and some of you on this call may be ready for some advanced stuff. So this would be a good place to start. So I think we're kind of coming to the end here. Yeah, we are, because I wanted to save time for questions. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, or at least I hope there are. If you want to reach me, I'm on all the social media. I didn't put my email address here, which is ben@salisburycreative.com. If you want me to look at your website, if you have questions that you think of later, feel free. I don't charge people to contact me by email, just if you want to talk to me live.
Fabulous. That was intense, Ben.
Yeah, we crammed a lot in there. We crammed a lot in.
I will just say to everybody out there, if you have not gone to Ben's website already, you really should. I mean, there is just a ton of free resources and videos there. I've watched a ton of stuff and learned a lot. He is an awesome resource, so please take advantage of that. So if you have any questions or comments or like to pick Ben's brain while we have him, I highly recommend that you go ahead and put that in the chat so we can take advantage of his expertise right away. But I'd like to ask a quick question to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. You mentioned that, in your article writing, your blog post, you would put it on LinkedIn and Facebook and maybe Instagram. Would you do that all on the same day, or what's the sequence of that? What's the best practice there?
Oh, that's a great question, Dave. Yeah, I typically do. So like tomorrow's Thursday, I've got a fresh blog post ready to go. It's already been SEO'd. It's already published. It's got internal links, external links, captions on the pictures, headings. It's ready to go. Now I'm going to promote it. So tomorrow, Thursday, is my day to promote it. So I'll just take that link. I'll do a little post on LinkedIn. I'll flip over to my Facebook page, put it there. I'll put it on Instagram. And if I want to, or I really think it could be a monster, I'll spend some Facebook advertising money on it. But generally, I don't. But yeah, I'll just do it all in the same day.
Okay.
You don't have to, but it really helps to get into a habit.
Right. So yeah. So do you post something every week, every Thursday, or what's your schedule?
I try to, but I don't always make it, or I have some other thing going on. But it does help to pick a day of the week, because it kind of, after a while, it just kind of gnaws at you if you didn't do it. If you're not nailed down to a specific date, you can allow yourself to go months without doing it. So Thursday's my day. I try to focus on that.
Okay. Jeremy would like to know, do you get the leads from the website and put them in a CRM?
Yeah. So I'm a Salesforce guy. I do. One of the first things I do every morning is I look in my email software to see if any leads came in overnight. And I probably average between 1 and 3 new leads a day, which is not too shabby. Mm-hmm. And I'll research those leads. I'll try to find out who they are. One of the best practices, I think, is only ask for first name and email address on all of your lead forms. You'll get a lot more leads because it's lower friction. Do not make the mistake of trying to get first name, last name, zip code, date of birth. You're going to lose a lot of potential leads. Make it as easy as possible. So I go into ConvertKit. I see if I got new leads. I do some research on them. Now I have a zap between my ConvertKit and Salesforce CRM. So when I've filled out all the fields that I want, I just hit add to Salesforce button, and it goes into Salesforce. Now in Salesforce, I can put a lot more information: where they used to work, who they report to, what their background is, what influences them, links to the social sites. In my email software, I just keep it really simple with the basic information. But yeah, I'm a big believer in CRM, and I'm a Salesforce guy.
Awesome. Kate would like to know how many folks on your team.
Yeah, so a long time it was just me and my wife, Bessie, who does all of the bookkeeping, all the invoicing, all of the payroll. But over the years, we've added more people to the team. So I have 1, 2, 3 full-time people and a contract person who's really more, well, this is a whole other webinar, right? 1099 workers. So I guess that's four people plus my wife and I. So we have 6 people on the team.
Okay.
But a lot of stuff I'm showing you today, I could do it all by myself and have done it all by myself.
Tamika would like to know if you have any website generators that you would suggest other than Weebly.
Well, I'm not a fan of these do-it-yourself websites. Now, they look great. It's like an exercise bike. Some exercise bikes are meant to buy, and some are meant to ride. That's why you can buy an exercise bike for $150, and it soon becomes a place to hang your dirty clothes. It's like that with websites. Just because you can build a website yourself doesn't mean you should. It might end up being a giant waste for your business. I'd rather spend a couple of $1,000s to have a WordPress expert design a site exactly to your specifications. You tell them, I want to generate leads. That's my primary function. I want it to be simple and clean. I don't want people to have to spend more than 10 seconds to get what they need, and help help the person who's actually going to execute it go do that. So, but if you're committed to doing it yourself, there's really not one tool better than another. I don't think Weebly, Squarespace, or there's some others out there. I'm just not a fan. I'm never going back to the do-it-yourself website. It's just a waste of time, I believe.
Mary would like to know if you have any examples of companies with really effective websites, other than yours, of course.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what industry? Because there's what's a best practice for one industry website might be different for another. So I don't know if I have any. That's a great question. But you can Google, best website design, best simple website, best website for lead generation. There's a lot of search results that would curate some great examples for you.
Okay. My website is new, and this will help me understand how to bring traffic. I'm also pushing employment so that I will provide content for my blogs, hopefully. Any advice? Well,
here's a piece of advice. By the way, I love to read. A lot of what I know is stuff that I've read. I'm just not smart enough on my own. One of the best books I've read in the last year or two is called Company of One by Paul Jarvis. If you've never read Company of One by Paul Jarvis, I highly recommend you get that book because he talks a lot about this, how to use content marketing. So my best advice is to take a stand on something. Well, think about this. Whatever industry you're in, what are a couple of things that you believe with every fiber of your being, but it doesn't seem like anyone else believes them? And you know that if more people would just listen to you, they would appreciate the unique way that you do something. The minute you take a stand on something and are not afraid to be just a little controversial, your content marketing strategy is going to really take off. For me, that happened when I finally got the courage to write kind of an in-your-face, poke my finger in the eye of tradition. I wrote an article called 6 Reasons You Don't Sell All the Wine You Make. And I just laid into whoever was going to read it. You don't do this and you don't do this. It was one of the most successful blog posts I've ever written. My phone literally was ringing off the hook. And I learned that from Paul Jarvis's book, Company of One. You've got to take a stand. You've got to be polarizing. Don't be lukewarm. Don't try to be nice and polite. Take a stand. Get a little rough with your audience. They'll love you for it. Not everyone is going to, but that's how you find your tribe. That's how you find your tribe. If you're a florist, you can't be a florist for everyone. You got to figure out who you want to be a florist for. Who is your tribe? What do they want? And then you speak to them about that topic. Same thing with a dry cleaner or a car washer or anything else. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Here's a question from Kate that kind of dovetails with that. Is she'd like some tips for kind of staying inspired in order to create this content. I mean, what drives you?
That's such a great question.
Too, so I'm asking for myself as well. Me and Kate,
Yeah. So I love to write, but I don't always feel like it. And while I'm committed to publishing every Thursday, I don't set any set time to write. I try to wait for inspiration. And one of the ways I get inspiration, I spend a lot of time on social media, looking at other people advertising their businesses, reading their lead forms, watching videos on YouTube. I'll sit there with use my phone as a notepad or just a little scratch pad. I get a lot of my inspiration about what to write about, but more around things like, how can I be more controversial? How can I be more of a lightning rod? I like things that inspire me to be more courageous, to take a stand and to be controversial. So I get a lot of that from reading books, podcasts. There's so many great podcasts out there for entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And so I can't tell you how many times I listen to a podcast and I jump up and grab a pen to make some notes. Feed yourself a lot of content. That's, I guess, my best advice about that.
Okay. Good answer. Jeremy asks, in the early days, how did you create an email list organically, or did you start with paid generation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I have, as of today, I have like 1,017, and I'm constantly purging it. I use double opt-in. I don't want anyone on my list that doesn't truly want to be there. So don't be afraid of making people jump through a few hoops to join your email list. But start with one, then go to two, and then go to three. Everybody just starts with one. So I really think it starts with having multiple places on your website for people to sign up. So they see your content first, like somebody sees a YouTube video or they read an article and they're like, I really like this guy. He kind of tells it like it is. He seems to know what he's talking about. I love his style. He's kind of funny. And that's when they join my email list. So make yourself attractive with your content. Make it really easy for people to join your email list and give them a reason to do so. One of the best reasons to do so is give away something of value for free in exchange for the email address. That's the number one way that people join my list, is they've downloaded an article or they've, signed up for a free online class. I have a number of different lead magnets. That's really one of the best ways. Another great way is things like this. So I do a webinar every other week, and you have to register. So I give away a lot of free training, just like I'm doing with you today. But to get the free training, you have to register on the Zoom registration page. I get a ton of new email addresses doing webinars. So if you're good in front of the camera, even if you're not good in front of the camera, if you got something to say, people will show up. I love this. You want some inspiration? I've always been inspired by this saying, light yourself on fire and people will come from miles around to watch you burn. That is what it takes to be a content marketer. Take a position. Don't be afraid to be controversial, and people will come like moths to a flame.
So email lead generation is pretty much fully automated now. And then after that, you have the nurturing process. How does that work?
Yes. So a lot of people think automation is for outbound stuff. It's really not. It's more for inbound stuff. So if you sign up for, let's say you like my free guide to selling wine and spirits from all, and you want to get your hands on it. So you give me your first name and email address. When you do, you're automatically subscribed to a nurture sequence. And I always try to have 4 emails in my nurture sequence. The first 3 are giving more value, giving more value, giving more value. And then the 4th one will be some kind of a soft offer. So let's say you download my free guide to learn how to sell wine and spirits from only, and you love it. In 3 days, you're going to get another email that says, have you had a chance to read the free guide? If so, you're going to love this video. They're very, very short. It takes them to watch another piece of content. 3 days later, they get another email saying, do you ever struggle with this, or can you relate to this? And just a few lines, and then here's another article, or here's another thing. So that's how my nurture sequence works. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm just trying to build a relationship. Add value, add value. Great book for this is Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. Read that book. Do what he says. That's a great nurture sequence. So 4th one, 3 days later, will be, thanks for sticking with me. I'm so glad you're in the tribe. As a thank you, I want to give you 50% off my most popular online course, blah, 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 with a link and a coupon code. Something, but only after I've given value, given value, given value. But all that's automated. And depending on what people click on as they go through the nurture sequence, they pick up more tags, which allows me to tailor my communication just to those people. So there's a whole webinar there on how to use email marketing, but that's a nurture sequence in a nutshell. I have a lot of that automated. So just like when you go to my website, you might trip over all these different offers. When you subscribe to one of them, you're going to get, I've got all these different sequences that are appropriate for that. If you take my quiz, depending on the results you get in the quiz, you're going to be subscribed to a different nurture sequence. Yes, it takes a long time to set it all up, but it's because it's automated. You only ever have to do it once. And then this helps convert more people into paying customers.
Let's see. Darlene asked, how does research leads work look different when it's an individual versus a company? I'm looking to expand a coaching company.
Yeah, so I've always felt that selling is a one-to-one game, and email software allows you to scale that. So I can write a thank you note for someone that likes a particular product of mine and that lives in Connecticut, and I can send that same email to 40 people if they all live in Connecticut. So that's the beauty of using this kind of stuff. So whether you're an individual or a corporation, Corporations are a little bit at a disadvantage because they can only use newsletters and other mass produced, communication. That's not even a good idea for a big corporation. The big trend in email marketing for corporations is to figure out how to highly personalize every piece of correspondence as if they're writing just to you. As an individual trying to start a new side hustle or something, that's you want to make sure you're like, when you get an email from me, it says Ben Salisbury in the inbox. So you're getting it from me. And it looks like I'm writing just to you. And I know this because I get a lot of people just hit reply and respond. So think of email as a very personal with your name on it, whether you work for a big company or by yourself.
Jeremy would like to know, did you learn all this from reading in the School of Hard Knocks, or did you have some outside help?
Oh, all of the above. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of what I know about digital stuff, right? My gurus are Miles Beckler on YouTube. I watch everything that Miles Beckler puts out. Gillian Perkins, I'm a huge follower of hers. Sunny Lenarduzzi. So I'm constantly watching stuff on YouTube. I'm a huge subscriber to podcasts. I'm a big reader of books. So a lot of it came from that. But I've also had mentors and help. And I've had a lot of help from mentors. And so I try to be a mentor, which is part of why I do this. This is part of how I can give back what I've learned. So it's all the above. Learning by making mistakes, trying new things, falling down, picking yourself back up. Don't be afraid to ask for help, which is my Achilles heel. I'm really afraid to ask for help. But my version of asking for help is watching people's videos and listening to things where I can learn about this stuff.
This is kind of a specific question. I don't know if you can help us with this one, but it says, I have Squarespace now and blog from there. She's been thinking about going to Shopify, but the posts don't migrate. Should you make the change, or should you basically stick with what you got?
Yeah, there's a lot there to unpack. What's your website built on again? Squarespace. Yeah. So I hope I don't get sued for saying this, but I'm not a fan of Squarespace because they try to bolt on all of these things. They try to bolt on CRM, email marketing, shopping cart. They want that, right? It's really smart on their part to get it all in one-stop shop, but it's not really best for the entrepreneur or the business owner. For CRM, I use Salesforce. For email marketing, I use ConvertKit. For my website, I use a customized WordPress site. I want to optimize all of those things. Optimize my CRM, I use SamCart for my shopping cart. So I try to find the best, and this is why I love WordPress. I can pick the best tool for the job and have it all come together in WordPress. The minute you go to something like Squarespace, you're locked in. You're locked into their suite of tools. They don't make any accommodation to integrate with MailChimp or to integrate with other stuff. So I guess when you're first starting out, it's good to have Shopify, but eventually you're going to want to have a custom WordPress site, which can do everything that Squarespace can do and more, plus better. So that's a big leap for entrepreneurs when they finally graduate to a customized WordPress site, which has no boundaries whatsoever. Squarespace, Weebly, nothing but boundaries, really. But it's a good place to start. It's like training wheels for a website.
Yeah. I know we kind of covered this earlier, but let's kind of go back through it one more time here. But when you sell things, you're actually selling to people, and the first step in your research is to figure out who that customer is and kind of build maybe an avatar. So your keyword search, is that in the comments? Is that your recommendation on where you would start to kind of build to figure out who these people are and exactly what they're looking for?
Yeah, and I learned this from Mariah Cobbs. So Mariah Cobbs is another one of my gurus that I follow online, follow her podcast, follow her YouTube channel, etc. But she calls it copy stalking. And what she suggests is you go hang out where your potential customer is hanging out and making comments, etc. So forums, blogs, other people's blogs, scroll down to that comment section, get a blank Excel spreadsheet or notepad and just start. At first, there's no, doesn't seem to be a pattern, but you just keep writing and researching and writing, taking notes and researching, and all of a sudden patterns start to emerge. that's why I realized that the things, for me, there were a lot of things I wanted to write about, but it wasn't what my customers were interested in. So I let that go and started researching, what are my customers searching for? What are they talking about? What are their pain points? What are they struggling about? What are they complaining about? And just start making notes. And you will see, like magic, the ideas will come to you. I could probably serve my customers better if I were to do this, because it seems like that's what most of them are really struggling with. I don't know how to describe it any other way, but the research leads you to really great insights about how to better serve your customer.
Mm-hmm. And who is Mariah? Could you spell that?
Mariah Coz, C-O-Z.
C-O-Z.
In fact, I spent a year, I paid $12,000 for an online course to learn how to sell online courses. And it was very, very scary. And you can ask my wife, we didn't really have that kind of cash laying around at the time, but we did it to invest in our business. And I've made more than $50,000 in online sales from paying $12,000 in that course. That's kind of how, well, this is why most people just stay in their job. It was too freaking scary to be an entrepreneur. And sometimes you take risks like that and they don't pay off. This one did. But I learned a lot in the year I spent in Mariah's course and can't recommend it highly enough. Her course is called The Accelerator. And so if you're interested in selling online courses or doing webinars, she's the go-to guru.
Okay. Well, that's a good tip. I'll check that out. Let's see. Looks like we're getting close to the end here.
Quick shout out to Kate B, who just spent 2 hours this morning working on her new Squarespace website. Don't let me go ahead and finish what you're doing. Go ahead and finish what you're doing. You can make it work. Just a year from now, or in your writing your 2022 goals, try to understand why the best websites that help businesses make money are not built on Squarespace. In fact, you can go to any website, right-click somewhere on the page, and go to, I think it says page source, and you can see what the website's built on. So that's a fun thing to do too. Visit a bunch of websites, find out what platform they're built on, and you'll find a pattern that the best-looking, most effective websites are all built on WordPress.
Yeah. All right. Looks like that's all the questions and comments we have today, and we're a little bit past the hour. So, Ben, I want to thank you. This has been outstanding. I learned a ton today, and I'm thinking everybody else did too with the amount of comments we had today. I want to thank you so much for coming today. And I want to thank Bessie for hooking us up. You know, she put us all together. So thank you, Bessie.
I just put my email in the chat if you have more questions.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben is a great resource. Check out his website, because I did, and I was glad I did. And so, Ben, thank you so much. We're going to have you back real soon, I know.
Thank you, everyone.
And we thanks everybody for coming today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.